Hi, I'm Janelle McGill, Realtor in Northern Colorado and an energy efficient consultant. And we're here again today to finish the video series, Selling Your Solar Home. This is part 2. Part 1 was very long with a lot of information. Part 2, we're just going to talk about what's going to happen during this transaction that makes it so different from a typical real estate transaction. So first we'll go to that last slide I showed in the first video, which was reminding you again where you can find the qualified agents to help you with this. The first stop is to go to greenresourcecouncil.org or ecobroker.com to at least find agents that have taken the first step toward understanding how to sell your solar home. These courses and designations teach them a lot about green building science, but I would definitely encourage you to ask further questions about the information you're hearing in these videos, or ask if they've taken the course that I've created in the state of Colorado called Solar and Real Estate, or the National Association of Realtors course called Selling the Sun, which is available nationwide. So once you've found that agent, what is it that they're going to do during your transaction to sell your house? So they're first going to ask you for all of the information regarding your solar install. They're going to need all of this information for everything else they're going to do. So if you don't already have that collected, I would make sure you gather it before you plan to list your home. And if you don't have it, you can either leave it to the agent or you can call your solar installer provider and ask for maybe additional documentation. Hopefully they have copies of all of that if you don't have it already. They're also going to ask you about the size of your roof. You don't want to enter into inspection issues while you're under contract, because removing and replacing the panels can cost you extra money, and it can also take extra time, especially if the building department needs to come back out for a re-inspection. So that can affect your closing date and can make a lot of issues during the contract, in addition to making you perhaps negotiate a little bit more than you need to. So address any of these issues up front, at least get bids up front, understand the condition of your roof. If there happens to be an insurance claim, try to get that handled ahead of time. They're going to show you how they arrived at your home's value using the comparable method, which is the traditional way to find value in a residential home. And that's by looking at all of the comparable sales in the neighborhood or in that part of town and similar size and age, and coming up with that comparable value. That's your typical list price. But with a home with solar, you're going to add another number on top of that called the contributory value that your PV system adds. And your agent is going to find that from a website that's called pvvalue.com. And I'll show you a screenshot of that later in this video. They're also going to fill out the Residential Green and Energy Efficient Addendum. This is a form from the Appraisal Institute, and it's the document that's used to show and explain all of the energy efficient features of your home, including the PV system. That's one particular page, but I believe the entire document is about 9 pages long. So if you do happen to have any other energy efficient upgrades or updates to the home, I'd highly encourage you to let your agent know and make sure that anything that's applicable is filled out. They're going to add correct information to the multiple listing service to make sure that buyers can find you in a variety of ways. And they're also going to upload all of the supporting documentation for that. They're going to educate the buyer's agent and therefore the buyer about your PV system and any other energy efficient upgrades that you've done to your home. They're also going to explain how the appraisal process is going to work, and they're going to make sure that the lease transfer, if there happens to be a lease on your solar, is able to get done in the right amount of time, and they're going to explain to the buyer's agent and the buyer exactly how to get that done. They're also going to be able to vet that appraiser, so making sure that the appraiser that calls for the appointment to come appraise your home actually is qualified. This is a step that your listing agent can take to make sure that you don't have an inaccurate appraisal done, because it's much harder to fight an appraisal that's already happened than to reschedule it at the beginning. And they're going to create a home book with solar. Most agents create a home book to leave in your home, and it's something that the buyers and buyers agents can look at every time they walk through, whether it's for showings or for an open house. So making sure that there's a section at the back that shows all of the solar information makes it very easy for them to find the answers to the questions that they have. Alternatively, if your agent is not doing a home book, at least having a brochure or a folder about the solar information is really important to have it out on a countertop or on a table where it's easily accessible by everybody that visits your home. So as you can kind of see from that list, there are basically 3 key areas where this transaction is different from a typical transaction. And those three areas are how the MLS, the multiple listing service, is being used, how the appraiser is selected and how that process goes, and how that additional value, the contributory value for your solar system, is found using pvvalue.com. So I'm going to briefly go over these three things a little bit more in depth than that prior list had, just to give you the tools you need in the future to make sure that your agent's doing everything they can to find that contributory value for you. So first, what are the things that they can do with the MLS? The MLS is an excellent place to market your home. This is the information that's entered when you're listing your house, and then this is what's syndicated out to Zillow, Realtor.com, all of the other websites where people look at homes, in addition to the public-facing site of the MLS. So the information that is here can be found everywhere else. So you want to make sure that your agent is using this to the best of their ability. So one of the things I usually recommend is that they use a couple of those picture spaces for slides about the different features of your home. So if you have different energy efficient features, have a list of those, describe them, show pictures of your PV system and highlight the best features, like how soon it was installed and how big the system is and how much it offset your utilities. So being able to use some of the items in that picture deck as marketing materials is a great way to reach more people, because most buyers are looking at those pictures first before they go to read the comments. The next thing is making sure that those listing and broker comments are accurate and that they're nice and concise. So make sure they're sticking to factual information. Don't promise things that could happen in the future, but what's actually happened with your current utilities, as well as making sure they mention the size, whether it was purchased or leased, and the date that it was installed. If they can do that nice and quickly and concisely in the listing comments, then it makes sure that all buyers are able to see that information right off the bat and they don't have any questions about it. Entering the correct information into both the energy features section and the green fields. These are both searchable data fields, so buyers and buyers' agents are able to type in, I want a home with PV, or I want triple pane windows, and they can actually find these items. So it's just another way that your home can come up on a search, and that means more exposure. And then to support all of these claims, they're going to need to upload all of the documents, including the Appraisal Institute addendum, the Residential Green and Energy Efficient addendum, into the multiple listing service. So those documents are only going to be visible to the listing or agents, the buyer's agents, and the appraisers. The buyers aren't going to see them, but they need to all be there because there are rules regarding what you're claiming in the listing. So all of that information to support the claims that you're making needs to be uploaded. This is just a screenshot of what it looks like when you go to the Appraisal Institute's website and try to find the database of the qualified appraisers for your home. So you go to appraisalinstitute.com, and this lists the professional development programs, which is basically the specializations that they have wanted to do to become specialized in any particular area as an appraiser. And one of them is the Valuation of Sustainable Buildings Residential. So when you click on that, you're going to come to this page, and all you need to do is enter your state, and below will drop down a long menu of all of the appraisers in your area that are qualified to value your home. So your agent is going to do this, the buyer's lender should do this, but one of the two will get that information to the lender to make sure that a qualified appraiser is hired for your home. And then this page is the pvvalue.com. So it's not the prettiest website, but it's incredibly functional. And this is the valuation tool that we use in the United States to value PV. It's funded in part through the U.S. Department of Energy's Sunshot Initiative, and it is approved by the National Association of Realtors as well as the Appraisal Institute. So this is the tool that everybody uses. It's just unfortunate that not many people know about it. And it's easy to use. If you as a homeowner want to enter the information and try it yourself, you can. You don't have to be part of the industry to create an account. But you do just go in to create an account. You'll put in your address. It'll find the latitude and longitude, which it uses that data in addition to your utility data and your installation information to come up with that contributory value. So if you Google selling your solar home or does solar add value in real estate, you're going to find a lot of information, and unfortunately the majority of that information is going to say this red line. The market does not support added value for green features and or solar. And I take issue with this because it's not being handled properly. I have found the opposite to be true. I think that homeowners that are able to control the people that they hire and the partners in that transaction are able to find contributory value. So in my opinion, the market absolutely supports the value. In addition, the market supports it because buyers are looking for it. They're increasingly more interested in energy efficient, high performance homes, and they definitely value solar. So my bottom line that I believe is that if agents aren't able to explain all of these benefits to buyers, if they don't know how to request those qualified appraisers, and if they aren't able to supply all of the appraisers with the documentation that they need to assess that value, then really they alone are causing the market to undervalue these features. So finding agents that have taken this education, that understand how to do this, is really the key to making sure that homeowners across the country are able to see added value for solar, because it matters and it's something we want to see increasing, and we don't want homeowners to be frustrated because they're not seeing value when they go to sell their home, or they're seeing frustrations because things don't go right because people aren't sure about how this process is supposed to happen. So I hope that you find that you get contributory value. If you have any questions or this brings up any other issues, or you have any stories that you'd like to share with me, please reach out. I'd be happy to talk with you or email you back about any of your questions you may have. Again, my email is janelle@jmcgillhomes.com, or you can reach me right from my website at jmcgillhomes.com. Have a great day.